Greetings again, everyone. Welcome back. This is part 2.0. Did a post previously, and I said that read it to the entirety. I didn't. I read it from, it was Genesis 41, and it was 1 to verse 36. But there's still more verses in that chapter, so this is just to close it out. And this one is entitled Joseph Rise to Power. So basically, the other two chapters I talked about was about how God God's miracles, basically, if you look at the whole entire story, but how Joseph was put in the pit. Joseph later on in life was put into a dungeon because he was falsely accused, and while he was in that dungeon, he helped two fellow members there by interpreting their dreams, and he asked them so that when you come out, put in a good word for me so that I can get out of here, because I'm not here for doing anything wrong. I'm here for false accusations. I put those words in, not the Bible, but he was put there for somebody else's wrongdoing, not his. So then after a while, they did go ahead and they did put in a good word for him. He was taken out of the dungeon, cleaned up and everything, and was presented to the Pharaoh, and was able to help out the Pharaoh interpret his dream. So this is the remaining part of that same chapter 41, but this is verses 37 up until 57. So again, its word is lengthy, but I'm going to try to read it as fast as I can, but I need to make sure, I feel the need to tie this all together. So Genesis 41:37. So the advice was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, inasmuch as God has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regards to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring off his hand and put it on Joseph's head, and he clothed him in garments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck, and he had him ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried out before him, bow the knee. So he set him over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh also said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent no man may lift his head or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphenath. Try that again. Zaphenath Paneah. And he gave him as a wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera. I'm going to leave it at that. Potiphera. Priest of On. So Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh's king of Egypt, and Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. Now in the 7th plentiful years, the ground brought forth abundantly. So he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities. He laid up in round them. Joseph gathered very much. Sorry, let me read that again. I jumped a line. And laid up food in the cities. He laid up in every city the food of the field which surrounded them. Joseph gathered very much grain as the sand of the sea until he stopped counting, for it was immeasurable. And to Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, and Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, from God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of the affliction. Then the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Egypt ended, and the 7 years of famine began to come. And Joseph had said to the famine was in all lands, but in all the land of Egypt there was bread. So when all the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Then Pharaoh said to the Egyptians, go to Joseph whatever he says to you, do. The famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouse and sold to the Egyptians, and the famine became severe in the land of Egypt. So all countries came to Joseph in Egypt to buy grain, because the famine was severe in all the land. Wow. I've read this story many times in the Bible. And remember, the Bible is just a guide. Nothing's new under the sun. These are points that we have to continue to go forward. This Bible was written by man, but it was given by God. And I just had to finish that out. This was a boy who was not loved by his family members. They wanted him dead. Just the brothers. His mother and father loved him. The brothers wanted him dead. And then he went through a rough life of being accused of doing stuff, then was put in a dungeon because the wife of the Pharaoh accused him of doing something which he didn't do. She just got her feelings hurt and got embarrassed. So the Pharaoh listened to the wife, accused him. Read the word for your own. I could be paraphrasing a lot of this stuff, but read it for yourself to find out. And then he was put into the dungeon, and there he helped he wasn't, I mean, I don't know him personally, but it seemed like he was still helping people despite the life he was given. Helped these two men that was there. Asked a simple request: please don't forget me when you go out there. Just let somebody know so that I can get out of here. I need a prayer. I don't want to be here. Just help me. So the chief baker people, they went out and they spoke to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh had an issue where the guys would help because it was interpretation of a dream. He came out, helped Pharaoh. Pharaoh saw that what he dreamed was very important, and I'm gonna say, put my words in that. He felt the God's spirit within Joseph. It connected, so that's how they were able to fulfill the word of the Lord. And they went out and they prepared for the future. And in that process, Joseph, although he suffered years of a lot of stuff unnecessarily, he got to witness and live his latter days better than his former days. So this is a lesson all in its own. I hope that you guys received a lot of nuggets from it. I know that I have. I was just going to read one chapter, and then it went into the 3 parts on the post. So I felt like this was very good to me, and I felt that it was something that can be helpful to others out there. And if not, to help somebody know what to do in the future, as a reminder to just continue to keep our promises to one another, and that we may not know why God have us to do certain things, but God knows why he has us to do certain things. We all meet people in different stages of our life just to connect in the end. So until next time, I hope that you guys understand and get the gist of how it feels good to me to give this out and to hear the story that in the end you will win. There's more to go on in this chapter. as you go on to this, you'll go into 42, which talks about his brothers, how they had to come back and see face to face and had to deal with what they caused, because they caused a lot of problems with the father and the mother, and a lot of lost years unnecessarily because of jealousy. But that's another story in its own. We know that Joseph had better latter days, and everything that he went through, it just made him stronger, wiser, and it made him have more compassion to others, for others. You'll find that out too if you read chapter 42. So until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for taking the time out to spend this moment with me, and I hope I was helpful. I give God the glory because God is who I seek, and I seek God. I feel God, and I move when he say move, just like that. So until next time, peace.